Music volume muted.
When a single mom goes out on a date with somebody new, it always winds up feeling more like a job interview. My mama used to wonder if she'd ever meet someone that wouldn't find out about me and then turn around and run. I met the man I call my dad when I was 5 years old. He took my mom out to the movies, and hey, for once I got to go. Hours later, I remember lying there in bed. I heard him over pop the question, and I prayed that she'd say yes. And then, all of a sudden, how it seemed so strange to me, how we went from something missing to a family. Looking back, all I can say about all the things he did for me. 'Cause I know that's the dad that he didn't have to be. I met the girl that's now my wife about 3 years ago. We had the perfect marriage, but we wanted something more. Now here I stand surrounded by our family and friends, crowded around the nursery window as they bring the baby in. And now, all of a sudden, how it seems so strange to me, how we went from something missing to a family. Looking through the glass, I think about the man who's standing next to me. Cause I know that's the dad that he didn't have to be. No, he didn't have to be. No, he didn't have to be. Oh, that's the dad. He didn't have to be. I can say about all the things he did for me. 'Cause I know that's the dad that he didn't have to be. Hey y'all, sorry about that. I did one and it was a little better than this song cover because I got a little more emotional in this one. But my father who adopted me called into my phone in the middle of a song cover and started with me again as I was trying to do this song cover the video. I'm telling you, I never get to be in the house alone and sing you all. I have to whisper the lyrics, you all. And unfortunately, I could actually do it, but like the second time I was too emotional to like do it the best I could. Because my stepfather, Tom, was the best stepfather anyone could ever have. The best dad anyone could ever have. He wasn't my stepdad. He was my dad. I was adopted since birth. My mom, Melissa, my father, Christopher, adopted me. But my stepfather, Tom, my mom met at Walmart. And that man never once put his hands on me. That man never once put his hands on my mother. That man never once made my mother and I have to walk out because he disabled our car. He never did that. My mother's other boyfriends in the past used to disable the cars from running, steal the credit cards, steal the money from us. And we used to bounce around apartment to apartment to apartment to place because we always got evicted from my mom's boyfriend stealing the money from her or getting evicted for other reasons. That man treated me like his own son. He had 5 children, but he said he had 7 because a child from his previous relationship he still considered his when it wasn't, and he considered me his own son. I remember I wanted to drop out of school, and he said, "Son, don't drop out of school. Pay attention to work. Don't pay attention to what those kids are doing to you, and I will keep you and your mother safe." I remember telling him, I said, I didn't think I would live to be an adult because I was threatened at knife point and stuff, and I was threatened all kinds of ways by these group of kids that were targeting me. But you know what? I overcame that all. Yes, I might have got broken ribs. Yes, I might have got some other injuries to me. But you know what? I overcame that all. But most importantly, I got to have the dad in my life I never had. My stepfather, Tom, is the best father figure anyone could ever ask for. He passed away 2012, the same year I graduated high school. That man was so ill because the hospital made a mistake with a blood transfusion. I remember he had his own bathroom. We couldn't use the bathroom or touch anything of his. He wouldn't let us go near him because he said what he caught from the blood transfusion, he didn't want any of his family catching. And towards the end, it was very hard watching him pass away, but I was there. My mother was there. We took good care of him. I stayed there till the end to help him with anything he needed. I loved that man to death and still do today, and I know he's shining down looking over me. And that man was the best stepfather I could ever ask for. He got me to graduate, but long story short, he couldn't make it to my class graduation. I said, Justin, graduate. I'm out of school. I don't have to go through that abuse no more from those kids. I'm out of school. I don't have to get abused or physical and verbal abuse. I'm away from that on. I was like, no, son, you graduated. My boy graduated. And when I got home, y'all, that man was in tears. He got out of his hospital bed. Yo, this man wasn't even supposed to get out of his bed. He couldn't even get back to the bed, y'all. We had to help him back to the bed. He was literally at that front door. He went out our front door, sitting on those steps, waiting for me to get home to give me a hug. That's how good that man was to me. He was in tears, crying that he couldn't make it to the graduation, you all. But that man, I know, is shining down on me. When I faced homelessness in 2014 to 2015, because my father, who adopted me, Christopher, called code enforcement on my mother and I because he wanted my mom back, and he got that place shut down that we were living at. We were homeless from November 2014 to October 2nd of 2015. I know my stepfather was with us. And then those kids came after me in 2013 because my mom and I couldn't afford the rent. My stepfather was a construction worker. He built houses. He owned his own construction business. We had it nice once my mom met him. Before then, we didn't have nothing. I remember the first date my mom went on with him, and he wanted me to be included on the second date. Well, the first date my mom drove and met him at the restaurant. Then the second date my mom brought me and picked him up. And as soon as he got in the car, I smell gas. Why? And my mom said, well, we have a gas can in the back because I can't afford a car. And this is what we got. It was a $100 car. And she said how she got it for $100. And then 5 minutes down the road, we're pulling over because the car's overheating. And he's like, why is this why are you pulling over? And she's like, we got to pour water in it. It has a blown head gasket. We ended up pulling over a couple more times, y'all. And you know what that man did that day? He did something no man would have done. He took the title to his minivan, his Windstar that was only a couple years old. It was a Ford Windstar. And he signed it over to my mother and said, here, even if we don't work out as a relationship, I want you and your son to have a vehicle that is safe. I want you to be in something that ain't going to leave you on the side of the road. And most importantly, you need to be safe. That's all that matters. And then I'm like, what are you going to do about a car? And he's like, don't worry about it. I'll get something. You need something more than I do. And he took that car and brought it right to the junkyard that day. Like, it was junk, y'all. It was an Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, 1995. That thing was beat. And that van was amazing, but unfortunately my uncle talked my mom, my crooked uncle, into scrapping it in 2013 so he could have drug money. He lied to her and said stuff was wrong with that wasn't. And I tried telling my mom, don't junk it. And I bought a parts van to fix what it needed because we didn't have money. It only needed simple stuff. It needed a power steering pump. It needed a wheel bearing and a taillight. That was the only thing wrong with his van because my uncle broke the taillight. Well, my uncle talked my mom into scrapping the car, told her it wasn't worth fixing. Unfortunately, she did, and the title wasn't in my name, so I couldn't save that van. And I wish I could because that day my mom and I went to all beat up cars and stuff. I miss that man every day. And I know he's there shining down on me through it all. When I lost my disability check, I lost my paycheck even. Yo, I collected disability, but I got paid less because I was working. Well, I had a job and everything. I went to my bank because my credit card wasn't working. No money was on it. Then I changed the account. Then it happened again. I found out New York State took all my income away because I'm blind. Yo, I fought that because I had to fight that, you all. And it took me from 2017, the end of 2016, 2017 is when they took my check away, to 2021 springtime. I had no money, none. I lost a beautiful place that I was living in because the state picked a payee and they never paid my rent right, and the landlord evicted me for unpaid rent. Ended up losing everything again that I owned. That's why I say material things mean nothing in life, y'all. Nothing. So then, everything I got after I was homeless, I worked so hard to get, got ripped away from me again because the state took everything away. And I called every lawyer I could reach out to. Nobody would take me. Nobody takes them with no money. Long story short, you know what I did? I knew what my stepfather said. He said things might be rough sometimes. That's what he told me when we used to sit down and talk. But son, you can overcome anything. Do it the responsible way and right way. And you can overcome anything. You know what? Those words that he said keep me motivated. And listen to Halsey's music. Because all I had was a little radio that I could listen to that ran off of batteries and stuff when I had no money. I didn't have money for food, y'all. I didn't have money for food. There were days I went without eating. But you know what? It was fine because it was what it was. I made sure my cats had food before me because they were my responsibility. I came second, they came first. Then I called the payee. I said, well, can't I get some money? No. I said, what about a phone? No, phones. I said, I'm visually impaired because I wasn't completely blind. And I had one eye that was working, but very blurry vision. Like very blurry, only straight ahead, far ahead. The other eye didn't work at all. I said, but I need a phone. How am I going to get, well, use a neighbor's phone. Then they moved me into this apartment, y'all, the state with no heat, no hot water, no bathroom sink, no kitchen sink. And I dealt with it. I had a shower stall. And I got a 20-ounce bottle of seltzer water off of my neighbor Arthur. I cherished that bottle. It lasted me 2 weeks. I cherished that bottle. It was something different to drink. I cherished it. I remember I walked 2 towns away, you all, just for a soup kitchen, just to get food because I was so hungry. And I didn't have money and I didn't have food at that time. But I knew my stepfather was looking down at me, and he sure was. Because when winter time came, the second winter, the first winter was brutal, very cold, no heat, no nothing. The second winter, I ain't gonna lie, I did things that I probably shouldn't have done being blind. I garbage picked. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. Things I needed to get things for myself that I couldn't provide for myself, and the payee was not providing for me when they should have. So I ended up finding an electric fireplace, y'all. The cord was all damaged and chewed up from someone's pet or something. And I found a coffee pot nearby and a couple other electronics just went through. I cut the power cords off them and I spliced that power cord past right where all the wire was destroyed and spliced it into the electric fireplace, plugged it in outside and ran it into a lead cord. And it worked. So then I brought it and I used it, and that's how I heated my apartment. And it was pretty nice. I never had I never had hot water. It was all cold water, but hey, at least I had heat. I didn't have dishes. I had food cans for cups. I had a butter bowl cover as bowls. And I had a glass jar once in a great moon if I could get lucky and afford hot chocolate or a coffee. But I don't drink coffee anymore. I got away from that, you all, thank God. But life wasn't always easy for me. And I don't think I would have this confident state if it wasn't for my stepfather and wasn't for amazing singer Halsey. Now, there are tons of amazing singers out there, y'all, but Halsey I can relate to a lot from a lot of the experiences that she went through growing up. Like, I went through a lot growing up, too. Some things I cannot say that I went through because too personal and stuff like that, but other things I can, like the physical abuse. Yeah, from my mother's boyfriends putting their hands on me. I used to have to run and curl up in a ball when I was a little elementary kid because I know I was going to get hit, but I tried to protect myself the best I could. And I threw myself on the bed like any kid would do when my mother's boyfriends putting their hands on me and stuff. But you know what? I look at that as a blessing in a way because it showed me not to do that. I don't look at it as, damn, I'm unfortunate. Because you know why? People go through way worse than that. What I went through is nothing compared to what other people go through. It's not a blessing what I went through because there was a time in my life I almost did something very stupid and I didn't. But I almost did something because I couldn't take it no more as a kid. I couldn't go through it no more. I couldn't do it. But I put it down. I grabbed something. It was a bottle. And I grabbed it. And I was going to take it. But then I decided not to. Then I said, no, I know God loves me. And I know people out there love me. I'm going to put this down. I'm not going to do that. And I overcame that. And I talked to someone about that. And stuff like that. And I didn't do that, what I was going to do. If I did do that, I wouldn't be here today, you all. But from the abuse at school, getting choked, getting hit, getting stuff poured on you and everything. The abuse at home, hearing the fight and arguing at home, nowhere to like really go out to like get away from it. The abuse at school, the abuse at home. Then my father Christopher, my mother Melissa fighting over custody. Like it was just too much in and out of court. Having to go do law guardians. My stepfather came, y'all, and took all that away. It was like everything lifted off of my shoulders, you all. I finally had a life. I didn't have to worry about someone putting their hands on me. I didn't have to worry about someone beating up my mother in front of me. When I was a little kid, I tried the best sometimes to pull the man out for my mom, but I couldn't. And when I got older, I did the best I could too, but sometimes when those people are on drugs and stuff, it's hard to get them under control. And my stepfather never did that. Not once my mom and I ever had to leave that house for our safety. Not once did I ever have to lock a door that a boyfriend of my mom's would kick in and bust open. Not once did I ever have to do that with my stepfather. He was so amazing. And I'm very blessed and honored I got the privilege to have my stepfather in my life. I'm so sorry the singing wasn't the best with that song, y'all, but I sing better at other stuff. Unfortunately, my dad's going to be coming home soon. Christopher, who adopted me, I took my dad and my mom and her fiance when they went homeless recently. My mom's fiance, I don't approve of. They broke up, but then they get back together and they break up. I will not allow him in this home because he put his hands on my mother. He demands her because he has drugs addictions too. And 6 vehicles got smashed because of him and my uncle. And never again will I let that happen. I have to buy 6 cars. Never again. I'm selling the car that my mother and I have that we came back from the concert with. And we're going to a Mustang. I was thinking of going to a car at the church. How about no. I can't take the abuse from my father, Christopher. I can't do it no more. He abused me, like going through my childhood verbal and stuff. I remember I had goldfish. Fish. I was like 6 years old, 6, 7 years old. And my dad took the fish tank because all I said is, Dad, I want to play my sports this week. I play football and stuff. Can I please go? And for me giving him that mouth, he took the fish tank and put the fish out on the sidewalk and told me now they can fry and the garbage can pick up the fish. He took my fish and put them out on the street corner, drained out the water and left them out there. And then my dad hit me with the shoe and stuff. He used to hit me with my own shoe, take it off. My father, Christopher, yes, he adopted me and called me names all the time. Like, I'm not going to say the names. He still calls me names. I went on a trip recently to see Halsey's concert, The Great Impersonator, and I gave her a pillowcase with Panic at the Disco on it and other stuff and handwritten letters and stuff. And security said they were giving it to her, and I hope they did. But long story short, that vacation was amazing at the concert, amazing walk in Menlo Park Mall. But you know what? The abuse I went through at the campsite, the abuse I went through in that car. You know where the Jersey State Park, the Garden State Parkway is, y'all? I got out of the car on the parkway the other day. I think it was Sunday or Monday. Or because I told Mom, stop the car. I'm getting out. I can't take this abuse no more. I can't. Yeah, it's just names right now. My father did throw a bottle of soda at me and a couple things in the car on Thursday when we were on our trip. But he can't help it with what he's diagnosed with. I know what he's diagnosed with, the doctors told me, but it's so hard getting the abuse over again when you got away from it and bettered yourself. So what I'm doing with the money that I sell this Buick for, I'm using it to save to get my own place again. I'm going to get my own place. I'm not turning my back on my dad. I'm going to take care of him, even though he calls me names, but it's better us getting our own places near each other. So this way I can take care of my father still, and I could take care of my mother, because my mother was homeless. I didn't want to see my mom, who adopted me, bouncing around drug house to drug house to drug house to drug house with her boyfriend at the time. And that's why I took her, and I wish my stepfather's still here so much. He was such an amazing man, you all. He would have never done that to my mom, made her bounce drug house and give all of her money for his addiction, because my stepfather had no addiction. His addiction was the family, to keep the family together. I remember there was 2 strangers that broke down in front of our house. And you know what happened? Their car broke down the road. My stepfather is 6'7". He pushed that car into our driveway. I remember the person say, but we ain't got my stepfather, don't worry about a tow. If you got to go home and the car can't be fixed, I will bring you home. And your car is safe here. You can lock in and take the keys, and he made these people dinner and everything, you all. That's how nice my stepdad was. But then he figured out what was wrong with the car. And he said, listen, do you have money to fix this car or not? And they said what they had. They had $20 towards the parts. My stepfather paid the rest. It was over a couple $100 of parts to get for that car. My stepfather just didn't fix what was wrong with it. He seen it needed brake pads. He went and bought a set of brake pads and rotors. He fixed that entire car up for that stranger, you all. And then there was one time I went to Camp Abilities. in Brockport, New York, for blind and deaf students. Blind and deaf kids, I mean. And my stepfather reached out to the commissioner of the blind and said, is there any people who have children that want to go there have no way to get the kids up there? I got a minivan. I can take as many as I can fit in it, so they all get the opportunity of going to that camp. And he took them all, y'all. He filled that whole van with people who needed to go, and he helped them, y'all. I love that man to death. I know he's not here with us anymore, but I have his ashes. I have them in a thing. That's one thing I never left. Even when I was homeless, I made sure to have his ashes with me. And that man means the world to me. I look forward to seeing you all in the next cool video. Don't forget to follow me and hit that subscribe button. But if you're a person and you want to go in a relationship with someone, if they have a kid, make sure to treat their kid like it's your own. But never try to replace the father. Like my stepfather said, I'm not going to replace your dad, Christopher. I'll be there to help him raise you, but I'll never take his spot. But I will be a father figure for you. But just call me Tom. Don't call me Dad, because that ain't fair, because you have a father. Just call me by my name. And when I first met him, y'all, he said, why am I not paying attention? I said, because you're just going to beat my mother. You're going to put your hands on me. You're going to break everything in our home. You're going to steal everything from us. That's what I said to him. And he's like, what do you mean? And we sat down and talked. And I said everything that's been going on since I've been a kid. And he said, I'm not like that. And he said, it's going to take time for you to trust. I understand that with what you went through and your mother. And I promise you, I'm not like that. And I was so blessed and thankful for that. That man never lied to me. And that man never put his hands on my mother or I. Never stole from us. Never put us down. Never broke things in our home. That man was amazing. I look forward to seeing you all in the next cool video. Peace. Stop recording.